There's been so much that's been on my mind these last couple of days, and I've just been in a mode processing it. And I feel like that's kind of where so many of us are right now, just processing what's going on around us, what's going on in our own lives. And I think the thing that's been frustrating me the most was, as much as I've been wanting to talk about this, something in me has been holding me back. Some part of me has believed that what I had to say was not really worth saying, or not of the same value as, someone else saying it. And ultimately, that's just been an excuse. And it just creates this war inside me. One part of me wants to just shout it all from the rooftops, and this other part is like, no, no, do not be perceived. Being perceived means being open to harm, open to judgment, open to persecution. Even if what I'm saying is completely innocuous or relatable, there's always been this part of me that's been worried about what people think, or even if this will reach anyone, if this is valuable enough to even bother saying. Always caught up in the numbers, the quantifiers, and the conditions that make what I have to say worth saying or not worth saying at all. I've been living life on such a conditioned basis. Nothing of it has been unconditional. And this isn't even anything that anybody's instilled in me, at least not consciously, I don't believe, but this is my own wound, my own hang up that I have to kind of work through and am working through. But I don't know, this just keeps coming up lately, this this sense of irrelevance, or being irrelevant, being deficient, or worth less when compared to others, not being of the same value. That's been a running theme in my life for goodness knows how long. And outright saying it, outright admitting it, I don't want to seem that I'm romanticizing it or putting a light to it just for attention's sake, because I know there are so many people that are feeling the same way, experiencing the same thing. And I'm genuinely seeking a way out of that old pattern. This is just, I don't know. It's something that's been with me for so long, and I feel that I've worked very hard, have been and still am working very hard to overcome this sense of inferiority. But this inferiority complex, it runs deep. Now, I don't know if this was just programming, like subtle programming, just from living in a society that is ultimately, truthfully, very unhealthy, very anti-spiritual, very anti-human at the end of the day, very anti-nature, anti-life, if it's not in the name of profit. And you know what? I think that might be the case. Society, in all its subtle ways, suggests your irrelevance while it pines for your resources. But at the same time, it encourages the notion that, life is pointless, or, that nihilism is cool. I don't know if you've noticed in media and movies and everything, just how nihilism and dystopianism and all of these like pessimistic perspectives are almost glorified now. And if you desire to see the world any other way, or if you strive to see the light at the end of the tunnel, or the light at the end of shadow, then you're like wide-eyed and naive, and you haven't seen enough of the world yet, or you just don't really know how the world works, or that you're in denial. And this underminement of people who are striving to be the light in this world, the light that this world so desperately needs, I know it's systematic, I know it's intentional, and it can be really disheartening. It can be very disheartening, just to see or to feel that you may be alone in this. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I feel very alone in this. Like, I feel like I'm not heard, or I feel like I'm not seen, or that I'm not worth hearing or worth seeing, except by those closest to me. And we've all got our own lives, so I don't seek to ask. People who are empathic, we never want to take from people, but we're all so eager to give. And that's kind of the place where I'm at. Now, I'm not speaking on this to make this my diary, because I know that there are others who are feeling this right now, other sensitive people, other empathetic people that are really unable to put these feelings into words. And I guess this is just me demonstrating the attempt, because ultimately we have to try something. We have to try. We have to get this out of ourselves. Everything is energy, thoughts, feelings, beliefs. Everything of this world is energy. Our bodies are energy. We use energy to move our bodies. Money is energy. Everything is energy. And if we continue to bottle these things up, or just try to keep a lid on these things, of course it's all going to come to a head. No one wants to feel unheard. No one wants to feel like they're screaming into a vacuum, into a void. And social media has really played a part in that feeling. As much as it claims to connect us, it actually disconnects us in a lot of ways. We see all of the peril and mayhem and atrocities going on in the world, but we have no time, no energy to process our own internal atrocities, our own internal mayhem. And that's the only way the world can really change. If we have and give ourselves the space, feel we are safe enough to have that space to process traumas that we may not even recognize as traumas to the spirit, traumas to who we truly are, what we came here to do, crimes against those things. Not to say that we're victims of this world, but there are systems in place to suppress and divert one from their own destiny, from what they came here to do, from their own talents, from their own passions. We fall into a pattern. We leave what we love by the wayside in the name of survival. We forget what it is that lights the spark in us. We forget what it is that gave us that childlike wonder when we were younger, when we were children. And that's, of course, all by design. Demoralization, making people jaded, making people distrustful of one another. And we have to fight against that. Now, I'm not saying use violent means, but one major way we can fight against that is by creating a community. Truly using the internet, truly using social media for what it was intended. Not ego flexing and all of, these comparison games that we've been using it for. And I'm not even for a second implying that I have all the answers, but I believe I know where to start. And like I said, that's to create a community. However small it may seem, however meager, we all have to start somewhere, and we all have to come back to ourselves, because I feel like we've all strayed so far from ourselves in the name of survival. And I, for one, am exhausted. And I think it's really coming to a head where I realize just how exhausted I have been and am. It's been a tough 11 years, I'd say. That's when life really started. That's when life really started lifing for me. And, everybody has that moment when it's like, oh, snap, it's really real. And since that point, it's really just been kind of touch and go. And that's what conditions you into that survival mode, or that sense that You got to do what you got to do. And you kind of put your own desires and passions to the wayside, perhaps so long that you forgot what it even felt like to have fun doing those things or to enjoy doing those things, to the utmost. I don't know. And I guess I'm just here to say that you're important too. You are important too. If you're feeling these things that I'm feeling, this sense of irrelevance, or that your moment has passed you by, it hasn't. Today, I literally, this angel spoke through this sweet old lady when I was out just grabbing some gas, and she was just like, "Oh, how old are you?" And I answered her, I was like, "I'm 28." And she was like, "Oh, you got your whole life ahead of you. You got to live it." And that was probably the best thing I could have heard today, the most comforting thing I could have heard, because so often now, especially with social media, just parading these 18-year-olds, these teenagers, like, living the supposed dream life, you know, riding in yachts, living in mansions, buying the hottest and newest products. I mean, not to say that that's what I want. I don't never really cared about that stuff. But it really can make you kind of put your own life, in question, and kind of cast doubt over your own accomplishments or seeming lack thereof, and undermine the work that you've done. And I think I know that that's by design, of course, as well. Because if you hate yourself, if you hate everything about yourself, your life, your looks, your status, your monetary, your finances, then you'll do anything, you'll buy any product, you'll go to anyone to change it. And that's kind of what makes this world go round, is the exploitation of people's insecurities, of people's discontent. And they perpetuate that all while also distracting you through so many things, through drama, media, news, just these subtle lies, it's a lot that they throw at people. And that's why sensitive people who, have been coined or described as naive for wanting better from the world, those are the kind of people that are hit the hardest with this stuff. Those are the kind of people that feel like their voices aren't heard, that they aren't relevant in a world like this, in such a seemingly cutthroat world. But this isn't a world that was ever meant to be. Not as it is, no. And that's why it sometimes hurts so much to exist in such a world, so why it's so uncomfortable sometimes. There's this restlessness in my chest that I have been fighting with these last couple of days especially. It's just like, oh my God, I just want to zip away. I just want to beam me up, Scotty, I'm done. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, but we're all here for a reason. And I know on an individual basis we can change the world, and we've got to resist that notion, that implication that we are irrelevant on an individual basis. What makes up the collective is individuals. And if we touch the hearts of those in our lives, and they touch the hearts of those who are in their lives, and so on and so forth, that can lead to exponential change. So we are relevant, and that's why so much pressure is placed on us. That's why so much is projected at us, these lies of how irrelevant and inconsequential we are. And we have to do everything in our power, and we do have the power to combat that, and to rebel, even if I internally rebel. Don't give in to those thoughts. Don't give in to those notions, as tempting as they are, as heavy as they may feel. Believe you me, I know that feeling, especially someone who's very sensitive to energies. I just kind of soak it up like a sponge, and I'm working on that myself, to kind of put those shields up, because you do need those shields. You do have to raise up the shields, or else it's going to be, it can be very hard. It can be very difficult to navigate. But we do have to navigate it. We're here, and there's no hiding. There's no running away. Even in those quiet moments, things that haven't been addressed will be waiting to be addressed. as I have learned and am continuing to learn, we have to keep peeling back the layers, peel back the layers, peel back the layers. And a lot of the time it's not fun. A lot of the time it's very painful. A lot of the time it's not easy. But that's why we have to be there to support each other, because this is work, but it doesn't always have to be just work. Life is meant to be enjoyed as well. And I'm really working on that as well, like opening myself to enjoying life and not taking things so seriously, because I have been taking everything so seriously for the last 11 years. Ever since my 18th birthday, it's like I've been in kind of like, oh my God, I'm behind the clock, I'm behind the clock, I'm behind the clock. Hurry, 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 hurry. Oh, I haven't accomplished this yet. Oh my God, I'm a failure. And so many people get caught up in that lie. And we don't really realize just how young 18 is, or how young 30 is, or how young even 40 is. Hell, even if you're 60 years old, you're still breathing, you're still on this planet. There's stuff to learn. There's stuff to unlearn. And there's no judgment as to when you start, how quote unquote late you start. As long as you're starting, as long as you're living, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I say this not only to remind anyone who needs reminding, but also to remind myself, because it ultimately has been a very difficult last couple of weeks, especially. Very emotionally turbulent, very mentally turbulent, all while still trying to be a functional member of this dying society, this facade that we're all upholding, but we all see the same thing. It can be very frustrating. And that's why we have to, like I said, create that community, be that community amongst ourselves, to help us see and recognize that, oh, we're not insane. We all see the same thing. I'm not alone in this. Like, yeah, okay, so it's the world that's crazy, not me per se. And the world is crazy right now. We're all hyper aware of it. And sometimes it's also really good to just take a step back from all of that, because you're not meant to take on all of the world's problems. You're not meant to You're just not meant to internalize all of it. And doing that as well can help you, or can cause you to feel inconsequential, insignificant, like unable to enact any so-called real change. But it starts one person at a time, one change at a time in your life. If you fix one habit, that's we're walking in the right direction. A journey of 1,000 miles always starts with one single step. So this is just your message to keep on trucking on, just like I am. The hard times will pass, and we're all in this together. Even if, whomever this reaches, if this doesn't even reach anyone right now, I know it'll reach the right person when it is meant to. Because I know we're all going through the same thing, whether we speak on it or not. Just give yourself space, give yourself grace, give yourself time, reconnect with yourself. Fall in love again with your passions, with the things you love to do, or if you don't know those things, discover them. It's like we're not meant to just sit here and be leached off of. We're not meant to just sit here and give all of our hours, all of our lives away to these corporations, to these moguls, these legacies that, run the world, have been running the world, that we no longer owe allegiance to, and we haven't for a long time. It's time to place that same energy, that same dedication, that same devotion into ourselves, into our loved ones, into our passions, and love thy neighbor at the same time. Like, we have to be there for each other right now. It's a really especially hard time, emotionally, mentally, very, very draining. And sometimes you just got to slow down, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you feel you need to do something, or you feel pulled to do something, but you are low energy, don't force what doesn't come naturally. Let yourself rest and let your energy levels come back up and revisit it. That's also something I'm learning on my end too. Just fighting with that, the desire to do, but also not having the energy to. And that can also create tension inside you as well, and frustration and questioning yourself. But everything in ripe time, everything when it's meant to be and not before. We have to stop questioning the way that life is flowing right now, and kind of surrender in some areas. Because when we're neurotic about it, when we're overthinking it and our mind's racing about it, what kind of peace do you ever really get answers from that? I know I haven't, and I know I don't. So in those moments, sometimes it's just best to take that step back. And this is your reminder to take a step back. This is your reminder that you matter. This is your reminder that whether you feel seen or not, you are seen, you are heard, you are a part of our world, you are a part of the world that matters, the world of people, the world of humanity, the world of spirit. Numbers don't matter. Your financial status doesn't matter. Like, that doesn't speak of your worth. Your worth is beyond all of that. Accomplishments, yes, it's fun, it's great to accomplish your goals. We all have goals. But you aren't worth less if you haven't yet reached that goal. If you're still working and striving towards it, that's a win as well. Keep going, pause when you need to, and recognize that you're not alone. Though this world tries its very hardest, this dying world tries its very hardest to make you feel alone. You are not alone, and I'm here to tell you that. Until next time, take a deep breath. It's going to be all right, and it already is.